What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm not wasting any time. I'm going to review a 2020 Ford Explorer. So this car is my work car. Full disclosure, it gets driven every single day. I tried to clean it up some, but it's already got 22,000 miles on it. So this review isn't gonna be it's not about a brand new car. I mean, it's new, but it's got 22,000 miles on it already. So this review is going to be geared towards how is the car holding up. You can search anywhere on YouTube and see multiple videos of brand new Ford Explorers sitting in dealership lots, but none of them really go over, you know, well, they can't because they're brand new cars, but none of them talk about, you know, how the car ages, issues that progress, things that you may not come to enjoy on the car. And a lot of times it's a sales guy doing the review anyway, so they're trying to talk you into the car. This review is going to be brutally honest. I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, the things I like, things I don't like, the issues I've had, and I'm going to try to cover all that in this video. So thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you enjoy it. But let's get going. So the first thing I want to talk about with the Ford Explorer, the 2020 Ford Explorer, is that this car is all brand new. There's nothing the same on this car as there was the previous generation. This is an all new chassis, all new car. So looking at the front end, you can obviously see there's a lot of changes between this year and the previous generation ending in 2019. If you look at the headlights, they are vastly different. There's nothing about these headlights that are the same as the previous generation, as well as the fog lights. It's an all new front end design. All the lights on the front are LED. The high beams are also LED. They've got active brightness control where you'd be driving down the road and your bright lights automatically control themselves. Moving to the side of the vehicle, you can see that it looks longer, and that's because it is. The all new Ford Explorer is a little longer than the previous model by a few inches. They increased cargo space. This vehicle, like previous models, has third row seating, but it's not necessarily as cramped as the previous model. Ford they've incorporated a lot more storage area in the back, which we'll get to, but the lines on this car are very nice. They're very aggressive. It's a very sharp looking car. As we come around to the rear, you can just see more of the changes between this model and the previous year's model. So let's start with the taillights. The taillights themselves are LED, but the turn signals and reverse light are not. But they've got a very sleek design. The previous models also kind of stayed with that C curvature. They carried that on with this new model as well, and I think it looks good. As we move around to the inside of the vehicle, I want to talk about that this interior is very different from the previous model. These seats are very comfortable. You can see they're not aging all of that well. Now, these are not real leather seats. These are vinyl. Vinyl is becoming a very popular option on many new vehicles for folks that either can't afford or don't want the leather package, but they also don't want cloth. Vinyl is that in-between material, kind of filling that void. So talking about how much space there is in the Ford Explorer, I'm a pretty big guy. I'm 6'1", 6'2", 240 or so, and there is ample room here. When I take this car on long trips, it's very comfortable. I have no complaints. In the previous Explorer, the seat felt really small, like it stopped further back on your thighs. This seems to go forward a lot further. It's a lot more comfortable. There's not a whole lot of support on the side bolsters of the seats, but they're very plush. And the vinyl, even though it's vinyl, it's not leather. It's very soft, it's very comfortable, it's very inviting. The steering wheel is, again, very soft to the touch. I wouldn't say it's mushy, but it's just firm enough and just soft enough to where it's comfortable in the hand. So one thing about this car is when you get in and you shut the door, has a nice thud to it. It's a solid door. There's no rattles in the door when you shut it. It's got a nice thud, and that makes it feel like a solid vehicle. So now that I have started the Ford Explorer, I actually turned it around because the sun was absolutely killing me. The first thing you're gonna notice when you start this car up is just how quickly everything comes online. The new sync system that this car comes with is very, very, very responsive. I mean, it is like using a cell phone. It might even be faster than some cell phones. One thing I really want to show you is one of the interesting features this car has is if you go into the driver assistance tab and you click cruise control and you select intelligent, this feature is something I've never seen before, and I'm actually quite impressed with how it works. This car will read signs it'll read speed limit signs as you go through, and you can set a tolerance here of how much faster than the speed limit sign you wish to go. So for example, if the speed limit is 45, the car will read it and it will display it right here on the screen, but the cruise control will only go as fast as you allow it to. So let's say you're comfortable with going 2 miles per hour over the speed limit and the speed limit 65, it will automatically adjust to 67. Now as you're going through towns and the speed limit drops from 45 to 50, let's say, well, the cruise control will automatically adjust its speed down to 52 miles an hour. Very cool feature. Something about this car that I had actually never seen before. Although it's a base model, it does come with a pretty cool feature. So again, talking about the responsiveness of the entertainment center or infotainment system, let's move down here to the dial that controls which gear you're in. With a 10-speed automatic in most Ford vehicles, they are coming with this style shift knob on the center console. Now, it took some getting used to. I'm used to a handle per se, and the placement is a little weird, but once you get used to it, it's not so bad. I'm going to show you how quick the reverse camera comes up when you put it in reverse. Very instant, and the quality is very good. The reverse camera is very clear. It is adaptive, I guess is what you would like to call it, and as you turn the wheel, it adjusts as well. I really like the reverse camera in this car. Moving back up the center console. Move this arrow away just in case it's causing any kind of breeze. The buttons on the 2020 Ford Explorer are all new, of course. They're very different, and it's not quite what you'd expect. You flip up and down for your heat and air temperature controls. They don't feel very quality. They feel cheap. They sound cheap. Not very impressed. They work fine, they get the job done, but it just feels cheap. Also, the fitment up here isn't the best. You've got gaps here, cheap buttons, cheap plastic. The fit and finish of the whole front end is a little cheap. It just moves. It sometimes rattles. Some of these rattles I have found and tried to get to stop, but not very impressed with the buttons. Like I said, they get the job done, but it's cheap feeling. In the rear, we do have captain chairs, or captain seats, excuse me, with the center console here in the middle. It's got 2 cup holders, a little bit of storage there, and obviously, being a Ford Explorer, it comes with 3rd row seating. All this is still vinyl with black carpet and black finishes. It's a very nice interior. It's very comfortable. Plenty of room, plenty of space. So shifting to the back of the vehicle, again, I'm a pretty big guy and there's plenty of room. I mean, my driver's seat is slid all the way back for where I sit, and I've still got room to sit comfortably. In addition to that, this seat does adjust. You can slide up, you can slide back, it reclines. Plenty of room here. I like the space back here. My previous Explorer had the bench seat in the back, and there was probably half as much space in that car as there was in here. This is a very, very roomy vehicle, very, very comfortable. So while we're back here talking about how much room we have in the Explorer, I want to go down here and show you the rear climate controls for the back seats. These little knobs they feel of higher quality than the ones or the dials controls in the front. Here you've got your temperature control, your fan control, what zone you'd like it in. Very nice quality buttons. I like these in the back actually more so than I do the ones on the front. Down here you've got different charging ports for a USB or a micro, not sure what it's called, but 2 ports, Apple, probably Android, and then you've got a 12-volt system over here to the right, like most factory cars do. You also got some storage down below. You need to store keys or any miscellaneous items. Now I'm sitting in the back. Obviously this thing has 3rd row seating, so I'm gonna climb back there and let you watch and see just how much space there is back there. You know, obviously this is gonna be more suited for small children, but let's see how an adult fits. Not bad, actually. There's not enough room for me to have my knees in front of me behind the seat comfortably. In fact, there's not enough room at all. Let me show you. I cannot turn my knees behind the seat in front of me. Now, if I sit here in the middle and turn sideways, I can fit, but this is very much a dedicated space for children, not a 6'1" adult. I want to go ahead and apologize for the noise. They are leaf blowing behind my house and building a house across the street. So if you hear everything, I apologize. We're at the back of the car, obviously, and I'm going to show you the back storage areas. Automatic trunk release. Button is off to the right side like you saw. With the seats up, there's a pretty fair amount of space, believe it or not. And then underneath here is more space. If you want to hide something, you can put things off to the side if you don't want them to roll around. These spaces are also accessible from the top. Lots of space here. Very impressive. Now another thing too is the ease of releasing the seats. So now you have even more space. Very impressive. In addition to that, they're easy to pull back up. You don't have to reach in too far. And boom, you're right back where you are now. Ford Explorers with a higher optioned vehicle or higher optioned package, if you will, they have buttons off here to the side that will automatically control these. This being an XLT, I do not have that luxury, but this still isn't that bad. So there you kind of have the inside and exterior of the Ford Explorer. Most of it's all good. I don't really have any complaints about the comfort of the car, the features, or anything like that. What I do have a complaint with, though, is the reliability. So now we're going to get into some of the not so good things about the Ford Explorer. Right now I'm standing back inside my garage, and we bought a new house that came with some extra carpet laying in the garage. So I will lay the carpet down beneath the Explorer, and I park over top of it every day. Let me show you some of the treats it's left me over time. So if you look here, every one of these stings is from the Explorer. It has leaked so much. It looks like it is developing an oil leak now. Most of this red tinted stuff is from the transmission cooler. So not good at all. So anyway, back to the leaks. This thing, you know, being a brand new car and only 22,000 miles, you shouldn't have to deal with this kind of stuff. Now Ford has 2 recalls out for the Explorer, but neither of them are related to the faulty design in the transmission cooler. It's failed 3 times. It's been in the shop every 5,000 miles for a new transmission cooler. It's leaked all over my garage carpet, all over the garage concrete, and ruined the floor. Nothing I can really do about that. As they fail, I'm going to continue to take them back. But there are 2 recalls out, neither of which are related to those. In fact, they're very minor issues. But anyway, it's a car with only 22,000 miles shouldn't leak quite like that. So I'm hoping they release a recall soon for that issue. So now I'm back outside with the car, and what I'm gonna do now is we're gonna take it for a drive. I'm gonna mount you to my windshield and let you hear any kind of cabin noise that this GoPro will pick up, and talk about how it rides, how it drives, some other pros and cons of owning a 2024 Explorer. So let's go. Okay, so we are in my Explorer, driving it down the road now, or actually leaving the neighborhood. I want to talk about how I loathe the 10-speed automatic. You can't go slow in this thing because it will buck like a horse. It can't decide what gear it needs to be in at low miles per hour, low RPM. It is not a smooth riding transmission, and when you are, or smooth driving transmission, I guess. And when you are out on the open highway, it kind of the same thing. It can't decide what gear it needs to be in. If you are doing 75 on the interstate, it's fine. It's great, actually. You get decent gas mileage for the bigger vehicle like this is, but having those extra gears is kind of nice. But at low speeds, coming up hills especially, it has a very hard time. You're not going to get to see that right now because I'm coasting out of the neighborhood. It's mostly downhill, but hopefully I can show you that when we get back. I don't know if you can hear it either. As it shifts, it's very notchy sounding. It did it just a second ago. You may or may not have been able to hear that on the GoPro. Something else about this car that I really hope you can hear once we get it on the road is just how many rattles it has. They come mostly from the back of the car, and I can't find them to make them stop or go away. In addition to that, this seat pops like crazy. I know I'm a bigger guy, but it's almost insulting. It feels like it's just coming apart, which it actually is. Now that I'm messing with it, the seat is actually coming apart. The quality control with this vehicle kind of wasn't there. Now I know it's an XLT package. I don't know if that's to be expected if they take their time on, let's say, platinum packaged vehicles or platinum option vehicles, but the quality control is not there. The carpet and where it lays over each other, you know, there's no smooth transition. It's just carpet stacked on top of each other. There's strings coming off. Kind of ugly, if you will. All right, so now we're taking off out of my neighborhood. I didn't get on it just did that. I don't know. I mean, you saw me jerk a little bit. It shifts hard. It does not shift smooth. In addition to that, I don't know if you could hear the engine noise. The rattle that this car produces under acceleration is unlike anything I've ever heard. I think something else is breaking, gonna break, something's going wrong, but it's got a very, very nasty rattling sound when you accelerate. The road I'm on right now is pretty smooth, so you're probably not gonna hear any kind of rattling from the interior of the car on this road. So those are some of the complaints I have. The transmission itself, not good. I don't like it at all. Ford needs to, they either need to switch who's ever developing the 10-speed for this car to a different company, or scrap it and start over. I don't know. It's just, I hate it. I absolutely hate the way this car rides and drives. I'm sorry about the sun. It's all over the place right now. It's kind of getting late in the day. Now I will say this. This car is extremely comfortable. The ride quality of the suspension is very, very comfortable. I enjoy being in this car, not necessarily driving it because of how notchy and rough the transmission can be and how loud the engine is at times. But the car itself is comfortable. It rides tremendously. Another complaint, however, back to the quality control, the rear windows are not sealed very well or something. I've made sure they are rolled all the way up, which they are, But at higher speeds, 70, 75 miles per hour, I mean, it sounds like a wind tunnel back there. People who sit in this back passenger side seat, they complain constantly. Well, they don't really complain, but if I look back there, they're always trying to find where the air is coming from. I've taken it to Ford. They said, you know, can't replicate the problem, don't know what the problem is, whatever. They won't fix it. I've asked them twice. You may be able to hear it in the video. We're doing 50 right now, and I can already hear it blowing back there. So I'm going to try to get onto a rougher road, I guess, and see if you can hear, you know, how the interior of this car is put together. There's some of that engine rattling again. It might be the transmission cooler, I don't know. It kind of sounds like the noise it made when it was going bad the first 3 times. Alright, so we're getting on a little bit of a rougher road. You hear it back there rattling? It's awful. I hope you can hear that. I hope when I go to play this video back, you can hear the rattling back there, because it's loud. Cheap is the word that comes to mind. It makes the car feel cheap. You know, they did a good job with the vinyl. I think it's soft, it's comfortable, feels nice. They could have taken a little extra time, I felt like, to fit and finish the body panels or the interior panels of this car. I'm the kind of person that when there's a rattle in the car, I've got to find it. Otherwise, it's going to drive me crazy. The fact that I can't find these rattles in the back of the car is driving me insane. And I can't make them stop. Oh, gosh. So the vehicle that I had before this, mind you, again, this is my company car. This is a free car that my company allows me to drive, and I'm very thankful for it. I'm not here to complain. You know, it's free. I'm not going to complain about that. But what I am going to complain is to Ford about their product. They need to do better. You know, that's just point blank. Ford needs to do better for a vehicle as highly anticipated as this one was. Ford can do better. So now I'm turning and I'm coming to a stop. Something else I don't like about this transmission is as it downshifts, or upshifts rather, as you're coming to a stop, it makes it very difficult to brake. It'll cause you to surge, and it's like the car thinks it's helping you slow down, which, you know, an automatic transmission should do that. As you're slowing down, it needs to downshift and adjust with you. This car, though, it can't do it smoothly, and it makes it difficult to brake. My fiance complains about my driving constantly, and I've told her it's not me, it is the car. I'm not hitting the brake pedal over and over again, you know, making it surge and jump. If the car is doing that on its own. I could go on and on about how much I do not like the transmission in this car. I don't know if that has anything to do with the transmission cooler problem. I couldn't tell you. There's that rattling again in the back. So you're going to be annoyed by the way the transmission drives, rides, handles, etc. You're going to be annoyed with the rattles in the interior of the car, but you're going to be comfortable while you're annoyed. The seat is very comfortable. The electronic steering in this car is effortless. The braking is effortless. Everything, the technology is there, but it's the application. The application is the problem. This has or had potential to be a phenomenal car, and it's almost there. It's almost there. I think when they come out with the 2021 or 2022 version, they need to address some pretty major things. The various leaks being one of them. They need to redesign a transmission cooler for this car. And then they need to take a better look at the interior finishes. I don't know what that is rattling in the back. I can't find it. It started doing it at about 10,000 miles. So very early on, this car has had rattles. It's got 22,423 miles on it now. So for the past 12,000 miles, I haven't been able to find this rattle. or make it stop. I don't know if you just heard the transmission get confused. I was trying to accelerate out of a red light, turning right, and it jolted. Just the shifts, man, they're so rough. So rough. It's like a tight feeling. It shifts tight, but not in a good way. It shifts tight like something's being stretched too thin and it could break. That's how it feels. Well, every time it shifts a gear, it feels tight and it feels like something's about to let go. I don't know how to describe it. You know, my fiance's car, she drives a Volvo, a 2017 Volvo XC90. Granted, totally different car maker, totally different country even, but it's got an automatic transmission and it shifts like absolute butter. Absolute butter. I mean, it is so smooth and just so nice. Granted, I mean, I'm not here to compare those two cars. I just know that it's possible for a car to shift effortlessly, smooth, quiet, comfortably. I don't know. I don't know where Ford went wrong with this 10-speed. Now, when I complain to my friends about it, or I talk to other people about it, they think I'm the crazy one, you know. Oh, I love the 10-speed in my F-150. Oh, I love the 10-speed in such and such vehicle. Well, I hate it in this, and I can't be the only one. So far, I've only found one or two other negative reviews about the Ford Explorer. Most of it was purely cosmetic stuff. As far as I know, this is the first review coming out that's really harping on how terrible this car actually drives. And, you know, it not necessarily handles or rides. It rides good. It handles good. For a big vehicle, it handles tight. The cabin of this car is big, it's roomy, but it handles pretty nice. But it drives like ass, like total ass. I hate it. You can go on and on about how I hate how this car drives. The engine in this car, it's I can't remember. I think it's 2.3, a 2.3 their EcoBoost. It's peppy, you know, for the size of the vehicle. It does okay. It's not great by any means. It could stand to have a little more power, which is what the ST is for, or just you know, the other engine options. My budget only allowed for this, and that's fine. It gets the job done. It gets decent fuel economy. I averaged 24.2, which is actually pretty good in an SUV with third row seating. This just, I don't know, man. I don't know where Ford kind of missed the mark. I was very excited about this vehicle, and then the first time I hopped in it, rode in it, felt the transmission, I was like, what is going on? I thought maybe it'd work itself out. No, it hasn't. In fact, it's gotten worse. So we're pulling back into the neighborhood, trying to think of anything else I need to cover. This car has a lot of plastic underneath it. Not necessarily, it's not really protective plastic because it's very thin. I don't know what it's going to protect from. Wind? I have no idea. But it rattles. On the interstate, it's 75, 80 miles an hour. Something in that passenger side fender rattles like crazy. Here, we're going up a hill. You can't decide what gear it's in. Do you hear that? That is the car. That's not me. My foot didn't move on the pedal, and it's just up and down, up and down, up and down. It can't decide. It can't figure it out. It doesn't know what it's doing. Oh, and it sounds so notchy. It sounds so notchy. It sounds like something's loose in there. It's just rattling around. It's about to come out. I don't know how to describe it other than it sounds cheap. Anyway, we're back in the neighborhood. I'm about to pull this thing back inside and park it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's my first one. I know it's probably not very good, not as thorough as I wanted it to be. In my mind, I had an idea and an expectation of how I wanted it to go, and I didn't realize how difficult it was actually going to be to put this together. So I will improve. The next vehicle that I'm going to review is actually my fiance's 2017 Volvo XC90 R Design. It's a very nice car. We've been mostly happy with it, but it has its flaws as well. Like I said, it's a used car. It's not brand new. Most car reviews I've seen, they typically aren't used cars. Her Volvo has 70,000 miles on it. It's a used car, so we've got quite a bit of experience with it, and I'm going to talk about a lot of stuff. I'm not a salesman here to try to sell you a product. I'm not going to praise the vehicle. I'm going to be brutally honest about what I like and what I don't like. And so far with my 2020 Ford Explorer, I'm less than impressed. I think it's pretty. I think it is comfortable to sit in, but it's not comfortable to drive per se, and that is in part mostly to the transmission issues, the notchiness, and the rattling of the engine, the rattling of the interior. But anyway, like I said, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.